Hello everybody and welcome back to Expert Examiner IELTS. My name is Glyn and in this video we have some feedback on Abdullah's speaking test. So let's check it out.
Good afternoon. My name is Glyn. Would you please tell me your full name?
Okay, my full name is Abdullah. You can call me Abdullah.
So Abdullah had some internet problems, and in part one some parts aren't very clear, but I think in part two and part three it becomes a little bit better.
Thank you. Now, in this first part of the test, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. Do you work or do you study at the moment?
Okay, I'm now.
I also notice Abdullah answers most of his questions with the word okay. Again, on this channel, we've seen so many people, some people answer with definitely, some people answer with okay, some people answer with well, some people answer with actually. Try to be mindful, try to understand which words you overuse, because it's a bit strange to answer every question with okay, but notice it throughout this test.
Studying and my major is biology.
Major, so a bit of a problem with the j very often. We've had a few Bangladeshi candidates on this channel, and I noticed the j sound seems to be a problem. J and the j seem to be a problem.
And what do you like about your studies?
Okay,
Okay.
I like to study my subject because it fascinates me a lot, and
I like to study my subject because it fascinates me a lot. Well, that's empty. It doesn't mean anything, right? It fascinates me. Tell us what fascinates you about it.
I'm very passionate to the
I'm passionated to. I don't know what passionated to means.
subject, and it was about animals and plants, and
It was about animals and plants. I don't know why the past time has come here. It was about animals and plants. Not very coherent.
I love those things. So that was I chose the subject.
Okay, that's why I choose the subject, I think, but I didn't quite catch that he exactly said that. Did he say that's why? Let's just listen again.
And it was about animals and plants, and I love those things. So that was I chose the subject.
That was I choose the subject, I think he said, and he should say that's why I chose the subject.
And what would you like to do after you finish your studying?
Okay.
Again, he answers with okay. That's 3 questions so far, and each time he's answered with okay.
I want to become a scientist after finishing
Want to become? Fine.
my
After finishing my studies? Fine.
study because I think scientists have a great role.
But I noticed there's a lot of chaos. I think one of the bits of advice that I gave this candidate after the test was that he's speaking too quickly, and this makes his speech sound a little bit chaotic. Just notice the amount of like little mini reformulations where he answers it like this, and it's just there's a lot of like little like a little bit chaotic. So my advice was simply to slow down a little bit, try to organize your thoughts and say what you want to say.
For the world.
So yeah, and again, it feels like it's not ending naturally. He's just speaking, saying whatever comes to his mind, and then ending it with "so yeah," and that isn't very good cohesion.
I'd like to move on now and talk about flowers. Do you have a favorite flower?
Okay, that
Again, he answers with okay. That's every question so far.
is rose. I like the flower so much.
The flower. Again, with some people from South Asia, again, this problem with the f sound, flower, that it sounds a little bit like plower from the candidate.
Because it's attract me all the time when I saw it. So that is the thing.
And have you ever bought flowers as a gift for somebody?
Okay?
Yeah, of course, many times.
No, okay, this time. I like this answer. This answer is far more natural. Yes, of course, many times. This seems like the natural Abdullah, and I would like to see this not just from Abdullah, but from candidates in general. I want to see how you speak English in a normal setting, not how you speak English in a test setting. I promise you, the normal English you use will be far more impressive than the impressive test style of English that you try to use because you've been told to use it that way. Forget about the test style of English. Of course, try to give full answers, but use your natural English and you'll probably score better.
Because we use flower to attract someone
We use flowers, plural.
to us. I
Again, notice all of the reformulation here. It just sounds chaotic. Listen to the not just in this answer, but in the answers throughout the test. Just notice it again.
to attract someone to us. I give a flower my.
So I know the internet connection makes it a little difficult to understand, but also this chaos, this attempt to speak too quickly is resulting in that type of disfluency.
Parents, sometimes my friends get attracted to them.
And do you have any flowers or any plants in your home?
Yeah, I have some flowers pot in my home. In my home, there is not so lots of space, so that is
Not so lots of space, not so much space, not such a lot of space.
why I use pot for flowers, and there
Internet connection, can't hear.
there has some flowers like rose and some others flowers. I didn't remember those flowers name.
I didn't remember or I don't remember. Again, there's just a few cases now in part one where he's used past simple, and I don't know why he's used past simple. It just seems to randomly appear.
Let's move on now and talk about seasons and weather. What kind of weather do you usually have in your country?
Okay,
Again, starting with okay.
in my country, most of the time it was like
It was. Again, why past? Most of the time it was. I don't know why we're using the past here.
summertime. It was very hot.
Again, internet, it was very hot, but I don't know if there's any reason to use the past.
And in my country, there are many there are other weather like winter and also
There are other weather. There is other weather. There is some other weather. There is some different kinds of weather. There are some different kinds of weather.
so rainy monsoon. So most of the time that is summer.
So he's thrown in the words like rainy, monsoon, but it's not part of any grammatical sentence. Just there are other kinds of weather, rainy, monsoon. Just throwing words randomly in there without finding the right place in the sentence for them.
And
So, a good example would be, in other parts of the country, we have different kinds of weather. For example, we have one quite long rainy season, which we call the monsoon season, right? That's a coherent, connected, like grammaticized sentence.
what kind of weather do you prefer, hot weather or cold weather?
I like winter and it fascinates me. And in
Again, I like winter. It fascinates me. Again, he said that his studies fascinate him. He said that winter fascinates him. But what's fascinating? I don't know. Can one be fascinated by weather? Certainly, it sounds strange to me, and so I'm looking for an explanation. I don't like when students simply, they pick a word like fascinating because they think, oh, fascinating is a word that will give me a good mark in the IELTS, and so when whatever question the examiner asks me, I will say it's fascinating or it fascinates me. That's not going to do the job. Sorry.
cold water, I was very much likely to play the badminton game.
I was likely to play the badminton game, so that's not how we use likely. Likely is talking about probability, usually with predictions like I'm likely to do it or it is likely to happen soon, meaning like probably. So I don't know, like I was likely to play badminton. Sounds strange.
Activity that I will do when the winter came. So I like the winter very much.
And is it normal for people in your country to go on holiday in the summer?
Yeah, it's very normal because in summertime I have a lots of holidays and they use properly those times. Someone goes for traveling to any
Someone goes for traveling. Sounds strange. Someone goes traveling is the correct collocation.
tourist someone likes to spend time with their family members.
Okay, spend time with their family members. Beautiful, great.
Okay, thank you. Now, in this
So, thoughts on part one. It's difficult to score this for a couple of reasons. The first main reason is the internet problem. I just don't hear everything that he says. There's so much freezing, so I can't do a lot with that. I notice that the speed of speech is far too fast. The candidate really needs to think a little bit more and breathe and organize their thoughts before they say something. It just feels a little bit like a random combination of words thrown in. Like, for example, if you have the question, what do you do in your free time? Oh, my free time. I do lots of things. Free time. If I have free time, play football, sports, eating. Go to the drink. Go spend time with friends. Go hang out, coffee. Cinema. Watch films. That's how it feels. I know this is an exaggerated version. That's not really how he speaks, but it feels a little bit like that. That it's like a machine gun of words, just spitting them out, and that's really, really not good for fluency, really, really not good for coherence, and also it negatively affects the pronunciation because it doesn't allow him to use intonation because everything is machine gun. In terms of grammar, not much variety in terms of grammar, mostly relying on present simple. There was past simple randomly thrown in, but not appropriately thrown in. Vocab seems pretty good, but there are problems with collocation, like go for traveling and things like this. So, doesn't quite get everything there. In part two, he has 2 minutes, so I'm going to focus on fluency and coherence for part two. But let's check out the task.
next part of the test, I'm
think I
going
can
to
skip.
give you a topic, and I would like you to.
Yes. Okay.
So let's have a look at this. Describe a time you bought something from a street market. So we have past time here. Whenever you have past time in speaking part two, it means that you can activate your narrative tenses, past simple, past continuous, past perfect continuous. You can also use reported speech. You can use past modals. You can use like sequence of tense, future in the past. Lots of opportunities to score with grammar and also with vocab. Whenever you're telling stories about something that happened in the past, it allows you to use a variety of adjectives and adverbs and adverbial phrases. So past time part two, really you have a great opportunity to show off grammar. Many students don't exploit this, which is a pity. In terms of the vocab, so street market, so we're talking about buying and selling, maybe negotiating prices, or maybe being pleased or disappointed with what you bought, how you felt about it. Again, lots of language connected to feelings is possible. Let's see if our candidate can exploit this.
Okay, so that's the end of your preparation time. To remind
Okay.
you, you will have between 1 and 2 minutes to give your talk, and I will let you know when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Okay. Okay. Recently,
So lots of okays, so many okays.
I had went on a
Recently I had went on. I don't know what tense that is. I had went on.
place that is called Cox's Bazaar.
Cox's Bazaar. Now, he's pronounced that very far. Cox's Bazaar. I don't know what that is. Remember, if you're saying the name of a place or the name of a person, sometimes it can be a good idea to overpronounce it, to pronounce it clearly, because it can be unfamiliar to the interlocutor, to the examiner, to the person you're talking to.
It has world's largest sea beach.
It has world's largest sea beach. Okay, but that pronunciation, I have to work hard to find out what he's saying. And I don't know, I don't like the fact that he's already talking about the beach here, because I want him to talk about a time when he bought something from a street market.
And the place was so much beautiful,
The place was so beautiful, or very beautiful, but not so much beautiful.
and the picturesque landscapes of the place
Okay, the picturesque landscapes, it feels like this is just rehearsed, pre-learnt vocabulary, but it's not connected to the topic of this street market.
is well, and it has lush greenery and serene beauty.
It has large scenery and serene, beautiful beauty. This is all pre-rehearsed, pre-learnt vocab. It seems to me it's not connected to the subject at all, so I can't award any points for that because it feels a little bit like the candidate has just tried to hack the test, right? And examiners are very, very good at spotting this. What sometimes candidates just learn a bunch of vocabulary, a bunch of language, and they think that they can walk into the test and just use that language in any context and they will get a good score. Sorry, the examiners received training. We know what we're looking for and it's not difficult to identify. So sorry, nice language. Beautiful beauty sounds a bit strange, but it's nice, colourful language, but it isn't connected to this theme at all.
So when we when we went to the place with
When we going to, again, there's no past time there.
I went to the place with my friends.
I going to the place, again, it's not even accurate present continuous or past continuous. It's just subject plus ing. I going to. There is no tense in English. I going to.
And we went to a
Again, we going to, but even the gut is dropped now. We going to.
street market that was
So finally, we've started talking about the street market after about 30 seconds, I guess.
that was called, I think, Burmese Bazaar.
Again, Burmese Vajar. I don't know what Burmese Vajar is. If it's the name of a place, please pronounce it slowly so that I can understand, I can get an idea of what the place name is.
It was maintained by our local authority.
Okay, is that relevant? It was maintained by our local authorities. The task is to describe a time you bought something from a street market, and so far we've heard about this place, the name of which I didn't hear. We've heard about the beautiful beach. We've heard about the green spaces. We've heard about the beautiful beauty, the scenery. Now we're talking about the authorities that maintain the market, but we haven't said anything about the market or what you bought.
And not our local authority, it's the authority of Cox's Bazar. And in that market, it has around 550 shops. And
Okay, now we're getting some good details about the market, right? It has around 550 shops. I don't know if street markets can have shops. Street markets have stalls.
it was, I think, it was
Notice the reformulation. We've had 3 it wases here. It was, it was.
situated in outside of Cox's Bazar, and it was situated in a very large area.
Get repetitive language. It was situated. Da, 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 da. It was situated. Da, 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 da.
And I like to shop from the
I like to shop. Again, it's present time.
market because the product of the shop the street market was
Again, it's just chaos with the language. Just notice again. Just listen again. The chaos of just the set of words here.
the product of the shop the street market was so much cheap and very reliable to
It was so cheap and so reliable, but I don't know if products can be reliable. Which products?
buy. Some of my friends buy many
Again, pastime, not buy, but bought.
products, and me also. We brought some chocolates and some
Okay, finally we learned what you bought. Some chocolates, good.
dry fish from the
Dry fish, very nice.
market because it was very renowned for dry fish, and it has the largest dry fish market in Bangladesh.
So I don't know. The street market has the largest dry fish market in Bangladesh. I don't know if we can say that. The street market has the largest dry fish market. It's not very coherent.
So the market was very much well decorated.
It was very well decorated. So candidate often uses much here. Now, you use very much, for example, with nouns, with uncountable nouns. Usually in the negative or in questions, right? I don't have very much money. I don't have very much free time. We can also use it as an adverb talking about verbs, right? I don't swim very much, or I don't play tennis very much, or I don't like it very much. But when we're talking about adjectives, we just use very. Very well decorated, very cheap, very good looking. Of course, we have a variety. We can use very, we can use really, we can use incredibly, we can use extremely. We have a lot of these, but we don't say very much plus adjective. Very much good, very much cheap, very much well decorated,
And we just stuck on the decoration of the market
Don't know what it means. We just stuck on the decoration of the market. Have no idea what that means.
because what a beautiful market it was.
Because what a beautiful market it was. Again, it sounds a bit pre-rehearsed. What a beautiful market it was. And we don't get the intonation. So it is a lovely structure, right? It's a very colourful, emphatic structure. What a beautiful market it was. But we need the pronunciation to match that, right? When we are impressed by things, we can hear it in the pronunciation. Oh, what a beautiful market it was, with the right type of pausing. The candidate doesn't show the right type of pausing because he's machine gunning. What a beautiful market it was. It's just all coming out, whether he's happy or sad or impressed or disappointed. The intonation all sounds the same.
We had not seen any market something like that. And
Okay, that's past perfect. We had not seen any market like that. A bit of variety in the grammar structure then.
that is the street market we went
Okay,
and
thank you.
shopped from that.
Thank you. All right, so you've been taught.
So, thoughts on part two. It's a little bit, it's chaotic. The speed of speech is far too fast and it's negatively affecting fluency because his brain can't keep up with his mouth, and so he has to continually, with every sentence, reformulate. There isn't one sentence that comes out as one clean sentence. Every single sentence has reformulation without exception. I don't think I've heard one sentence clearly delivered in the whole speech so far. Grammar is all over the place, just using, either not tenses, just subject and ing, we going, I going, or using present time instead of past time. There was one accurate use of past perfect, but in terms of grammar, I think probably I don't think there were two sentences connected that didn't have any mistakes, right? And we're often looking for that. To get the 7 or higher in grammar, we have to have noticeable, back-to-back, error-free sentences, and we certainly don't get that with this candidate, unfortunately. I will say his willingness to speak at length is very good, right? He's happy to speak at length. He's comfortable speaking at length, but the ideas are just completely chaotic.
Talking about a time when you bought something from a street market. Now I'd like to move on and talk about markets and shopping in general. What kind of markets are there in your country?
Okay, there are many kinds
Starting with okay.
of markets in my country, like street market, super shop, and supermarket, and many other market. But most of the markets in my country,
Okay, notice the speed of speech. There's no gap between, before but, we'd like to have a little gap, a little pause. Let's just listen again.
Time at big shopping centers or shopping malls?
uh,
Oh, sorry, I think I've skipped forward a little bit too far there. Sorry about that.
it's increasing day by day. People like to
Sorry, I've lost my way. Let's just start there. Sorry about that.
market and many other market. But most of the markets in my country is supermarkets.
Most of the markets are, not is. This is very, very basic subject verb agreement.
Because the founder of those markets, they think that it is very reliable and
What does it mean? The founders think that it is very reliable. They don't quite get the meaning of the answer.
very easy to build, and it's very helpful for customers because they have all the products in one place.
And what kind of goods are typically sold in street markets then?
Okay, there are many goods that was sold on street markets, like clothes, some foods item, and some chocolates, and many other things. But most of the street market in my country, they just sold clothes.
Again, why past? They sold. Why in the past? Are we talking about present time or past time here? Because the question is, what kind of things do street markets sell? Not what did they sell, but what do they sell?
Because it was very cheap in Bangladesh.
Very cheap. Again, problem with the put and the foot. So this is not the first time we've had that problem with the put and the foot.
The garments market was so big, so that is why they buy some products from garments and sold that in a very cheap cost.
About cheap cost, low cost maybe.
Now, you said that most places now in your country are like supermarkets. So, do you think small markets might disappear in the future?
So notice this question is about the future, and this is an invitation for candidates to use future time constructions. We should know that in English we don't have future tenses, but we do have a variety of ways of talking about the future. We can use be going to, we can use will, we can use might, we can use a bunch of other modals, we can use adjectives like is likely to happen and not likely to happen. A lot of language can refer to the future. Will the candidate use that language?
I don't think so, because the small in Bangladesh, everywhere we saw that it was
Again, past, everywhere we saw that. I don't know why he's talking about the past. The question is about will they disappear or might they disappear in the future?
the short shop everywhere, because
Short-term shop everywhere.
people likes to their lands very
People likes to their lands very.
reliably.
People likes to their lands very reliably. Sorry, I can't make sense of it.
And easily, because it is very easy to build a small
Easy to build.
short in anywhere, but in for supermarket it's need a bigger amount of land, that is sometimes impossible for a person, so I think it's not disappearing in future.
Okay, he's using present. It's not disappearing in the future. It's not really the way we use present continuous for the future.
And the consequence of the short market was very impactful, and
The consequence of the short market was very impactful.
people used to buy many goods and products from those shops, and it's play impactful thing in every country.
People used to buy products from those shops, so it's very impactful in every country. Again, the coherence, the answer matching. I got the point about, supermarkets require a lot of land and not everyone can set them up. And I think the candidate's point is that, it's easy for a person to set up like a little market stall. And that's why they won't disappear in the future, because everybody does it. But I have to work hard and work through all of the distracting language to get to that core idea. So there is an idea there, and I can find it, but I have to work so hard to find it.
And is online shopping popular in your country?
It's not very popular, but somehow it's increasing day by day. People like to use.
Again, day by day is good, but just take a breath, right? It's good. It's increasing day by day. But people like to use, and again, you can use that intonation there. When we show contrast, we like to use intonation, right? Like, I like a lot of sports, but I don't like team sports, right? Da 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 da. Da, 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 da. That's intonation, but we don't get intonation from this candidate. We just get flat machine gunning.
Online shopping market, somehow sometimes in Bangladesh, online shopping markets, people called it e-commerce, and in those platform, the products are very much cheap, and
Very cheap, not very much cheap. That same mistake again.
also it was very easy to get, and people also get a lot of discount from those platform.
Those platform, again, there's a problem with singular and plurals.
And I think it was very important. It is very important for a country. Okay.
That's a very unnatural way to end. Just speak, stop, and say, oh, okay.
And do young people in your country like spending time at big shopping centers or shopping malls?
It's totally depends on a mind of a
Totally depends on, not totally depends on, but totally depends on. So just the wrong word stress.
youngsters, because but I think that most of the youngsters in my country, they likes to spend time in supermarket, because in supermarket it has a lot of products and goods, opportunity to buy, and it
Again, there's no grammar there. It has a lot of goods and products and opportunity to buy.
has many things that in other place it not has.
It doesn't have.
Like in a supermarket, it has some entertainment places, some mobile shops, and many other. In one place we get all the things, so that is why youngsters like to go supermarket.
Youngsters like to go to the supermarket, but the question isn't about supermarkets. The question is about shopping centres or shopping malls, and that's not the same as a supermarket.
What kind of entertainment places do they have there?
Okay,
Again, answering with okay.
in my country, I saw that in most of the supermarket it has some
In most supermarkets, plural.
entertainment place like cinema, and somehow it has a park in that, and people
Has a cinema, and somehow it has park in that. Again, so the cinema point is absolutely fair, right? That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for like cinema, bowling, place to play pool or something like that. But I didn't get this point about parking. It just seems random.
and youngsters used to go to those places because
Again, we get this use of used to, and I don't think the candidate knows what used to means. We used to go to those places just means we often did it in the past. Maybe the candidate is mixing up we used to do it with we are used to doing it, which has a different meaning, which means it's normal for us, it's habitual for us. But yeah, candidate doesn't seem to know that difference.
those are very cheerful
Again, berry instead of very. So this bv, puffer is a problem.
and enjoyable for them.
Enjoyable, not enjoyful, but enjoyable.
So that is why they go to those places.
Okay, thank you. That is the end of the test.
All right, so let's get into some marks. Cool. So starting with fluency and coherence, I think I will give... I don't think it's low enough for a 4, but I think I will give 5. So the positive... Always nice to start with a positive. So the candidate shows a willingness to speak at length, right? Definitely, the candidate tries to develop their answers, tries to keep going, tries to keep talking, fine. However, there are huge problems with constant reformulation. Constant reformulation almost in every sentence, in every clause. And also some use of language appears not to be connected to the question. Sometimes I think, why was that mentioned? How is that connected to the question? Thoughts, the candidate's thoughts, or the candidate's speech sounds extremely chaotic. I think that's the best word to describe it. Lexical resource is 6. So in general, the candidate has enough vocab to discuss different topics. Great. Some language, though, seems to be pre-rehearsed and not connected to the subject. There are also regular, let's say, failures with collocation. You know, like go to the gym instead of go gym, something like that. Go traveling instead of go in for traveling, or something like that. So enough lexical resource. The candidate's vocab is pretty good. Not used overly naturally, and sometimes, you know, the beautiful beauty and the breathtaking scenery of the sea beaches. We're talking about the street market there, so some of the language seems pre-rehearsed. Grammatical range and accuracy, I think 5 is fair. I don't think lower than a 5. It could be 4. It really could be 4. So there was some, maybe there is enough for a 5. So there is some range of grammatical structures. However, the accuracy is really poor, even with the most fundamental, basic grammar points in English. If you want to get a 7 in IELTS and you don't, or you can't use the present simple, forget about it. You have to learn the present simple. If you don't know how to use present simple to talk about present time and past simple to talk about past time, you're never going to get more than a 5. Never, ever, ever going to get more than a 5. So accuracy is the problem here. Of course, we could talk about sentence types, complex sentences, but we don't need to speak about that because the problem is just obvious. There are no cases, or very few cases, of back-to-back error-free sentences. So, I'm not the best speaker of Russian, but when I'm speaking Russian, I know that I can deliver, if I'm giving a text with, let's say, 10 sentences, I know that probably 7 of those sentences will not have mistakes, or maybe 6 of them will not have mistakes. At least I know there will be some back-to-back error-free sentences because I tried to think about the grammar. Now, I know sometimes thinking about the language that you use can negatively affect fluency. I understand that. But we have to show, the most basic grammar, the stuff you learn at beginner, the stuff you learn at elementary, just present simple, just the verb to be, just knowing that singular noun, pen, plural noun, pens, singular noun, supermarket, plural noun, supermarkets. The candidate doesn't show any awareness of this at all, unfortunately. The score really could be a 4, but I think I'll give 5. Pronunciation, I'll give a 5 for this too. So there isn't... So mostly the speech is understandable, but there are regular mistakes with certain phonemes, especially p and f, b and v. There is almost no range of intonation in the speech. This is a big problem. There's no intonation there at all. If we want to get 6, we have to show intonation. If we want to get 7, we have to show some good use of connected speech. Some of the speech is connected, maybe it's even too connected, but there's no appropriate chunking, there's no pauses in the right place, there's no breathing, there's no intonation. So pronunciation for me 5. So in total we get 5, 6, 5, 5. This results in an overall score of 5.25. So overall 5.25. Which rounds down, unfortunately, to a 5.0. So the candidate's performance here is 5.0, which is intermediate, but it is a pity because I know that Abdullah's language skills are higher than intermediate. He isn't an intermediate speaker. This guy knows English. It's just we don't judge the candidate's English. We only judge the candidate's speaking performance in the test. And so some key things to work on. Absolutely, number 1, before anything else, you have to slow down. Slowing down will improve your fluency and coherence. It will also give you some time to monitor the grammar that you use and give you a chance to use natural pauses and intonation. That's the only bit of advice I'm going to give, because it is so critical. I don't want to talk about anything else like learn this grammar or don't use this or don't start every sentence with okay. Slow down is the only thing I will say. You have to be calmer. You have to organize your ideas better, because you are machine gunning your language out. Your English skills are higher than 5.0. I promise your English skills are good enough for 6.0, 6.5. With the right training, definitely you could get a 7.0, because I can see that the English skills are there. It's just for some reason in this test environment, you are just throwing random language out as quickly as possible, and it's killing your score. Anyway, I hope you don't think that this feedback is too negative. I just want to, give you a chance to see what an examiner sees in your speech, and that will give you something to work on. So sorry if it seems a little bit negative. I just think that your natural language skills are so much better than the language you produced in the test. Anyway, I'll leave it there for now. I hope you found this video interesting. If you are brave enough to have your own free mock speaking test, do get in touch with me. Information on how to contact me is given below. So many people write in the comments, hey, I would like to have a speaking test. How do I do this? Information on how to contact me is below. Just write and say, hello, I would like to have a mock speaking test. I can't guarantee that everybody will get the chance. Like I say, at the moment I can do maybe 4 or 5 speaking tests per week, but I get a lot more requests than that. But it's a lottery. If you're interested, get in touch, let me know, and you might get lucky. But yeah, for now I'll leave it there. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening. Bye bye.